Blessings to everybody from up high. I appreciate everybody coming through today on the Black Roundtable. And today we got something very, very, very special for y'all coming through to end Black History Month. As a lot of you know, I talk about on social media how proud I am to be Gullah-Geechee. I talk about it all the time. It's deep, rich heritage in our American history that has been forgotten. And I think it's very fitting that we end Black History Month talking about my people, the Gullah-Geechee people. As y'all know, I am your host, Roderick Threets. And those of you on YouTube, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Those of y'all on Spreaker, I appreciate y'all being here also. All my soldiers at Bagram and over in Okinawa, I appreciate y'all too. When y'all listen to it, if you're listening to it or watching live right now, we all appreciate you. But we're going to get into it because there's a lot of stuff we want to get into this evening and definitely educate the masses on our culture, on our people, and our place in American history. So those of you that don't know, I have the Queen herself in the building, Miss Queen Quet. She is the chiefess, the head of state for the Gullah-Geechee Nation. Everybody, welcome Queen Quet to the show. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you for coming today. It means a lot, and I'm so glad to have you.
Peace and blessings, Brother Threet. It is a treat that they right here with Hunter upon this your broadcast and thing like that at me. Yeah, they say Hunter Gullah-Geechee, you sure? You Hunter sure about that thing? And thing like that at it. And yeah, they say Hunter the one we. And Hunter going left the family. Say you move from we for a little while. So we ain't sure now. You sure you the one that we now? But true.
Oh sure. All for sure now. Never forget, ever.
Okay, that's how I talk about. Gullah-Geechee for life, ain't it?
That's right.
For true.
That's right. So again, blessings to you, Queen, and I appreciate you taking time out this evening to sit with, because we know that Sunday is the our holy day, right? Yes, and yes. we don't do much work, but it's important that our people aren't forgotten in all this, because really the only people that know about us are the people in the Low Country. People on, the folks on the Sea Islands, right, that know about us, right? Everybody else don't know. So this is a great opportunity for us, to bring this history out. So, sure. if you may, kind of let's go through our start off our origins, right? When we came from West Africa. If you could kind of go just a quick synopsis of that for us real quick, and then we'll get into a couple other things real quick.
Sure. So as I always crack my teeth and let the chilling out y'all know, and Hunter did that thing, but the Sea Islands. The Sea Islands going from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki, all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida. So we literally in the Atlantic Ocean and things like that. It was Hunter about called the Middle Passage. So in that Middle Passage been the Igbo, Mandinka, Malinke, Yoruba, Gola, Gizi, Mendi, Temni, Ifik, Ibibio, and other rest group and things like that. And some ain't been there just from West Africa. Some been there from the Congo and the teeth and go on to the coastline and then get teeth from there and get you. And then it has some other rest will be there from Madagascar even. So even when we talk about Carolina gold rice, there's so many people love the Nampon. That's one of the reasons they identify us, right? If it's not the way we speak, it's because of what we're eating, and usually with the rice. But they don't realize that even that rice came in from Madagascar.
Right.
So we are the embodiment of numerous West African ethnic groups, but also ethnic groups from other parts that were inland, not just coastal in the motherland, and also Madagascar, which is an island itself.
Right. That's exactly right. So, and a lot of folks, I seen a lot of folks stepped up in the chat here, and they were kind of off by us, speaking in our tongue, and people, they're a little off. And explain the Geechee language in simple terms without the, because with the
I
simple
know.
terms, because we know it's a bridge,
Right.
right? It's a bridge. Geechee's a bridge
Geechee is a
language,
bridge.
right?
Right,
A
exactly.
pidgin, right?
Exactly. So Geechee is a pidgin or bridge language between American and at one point Elizabethan English
Mm-hmm.
and African and the African tongue, which Gullah is. So Gullah actually has the same vocabulary and syntax and things like that from those ethnic groups that you and I just talked about, and from those different regions of the motherland. They got amalgamated into the Gullah language. But as we spoke Gullah, like we threw off your audience a while ago, that probably speaks English, right? Largely.
Right.
And so the English speakers, when they would come onto the Sea Islands, they wouldn't understand us. So a lot of us, in order to help them overstand, I like to say, they proceeded to doing loan words. They would borrow words from English, put it
Mm-hmm.
into our same structure of our African language, and then
Right.
put it back out. So that's Geechee. So some would say Geechee is a dialect of the Gullah language or a pidgin or bridge language as well.
Right. That's correct. And what a lot of people don't understand either is that a lot of words, in the South, right? A lot of the words we speak, in the South are Geechee, right?
Absolutely.
Us old, right? Us old school, you say, one of the just common sayings like, go fetch your mama nim.
And
People don't understand that nim, right, is
right.
a Gullah word.
Right. Or even say go yonder.
Yeah, go yonder. Yep.
Go yonder. And the one that I always point out to people is, before the pandemic, I still like to go into the movie theater, especially the Black movies. I wanted to go on opening night, support them. I would go in a physical theater. And so I would always tell people in the theater, hey, these folks owe us money in the Gullah-Geechee Nation. And they'd be like, what's she talking about? I'm like, what are you buying to go with your popcorn? Goobers. Well, goober,
Yes.
the wee word for peanut. And they just
Yes.
anglicized it to goober, okay, from goober. And just like gumbo, who ain't like for nam fun some gumbo? You see what I mean? That's again a word that's not in the South, but these words are now used throughout the United States. And people act as if they were English words. No, darling.
No.
These are African words that got it,
Right.
dispersed with
Yeah.
us. As we got dispersed, they got dispersed. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly right. And and even when it comes down to the culture, the Black cultural South in particular, right? We shaped it. We shaped the Black cultural South. Going even from your urban areas to us country folk, right? We shaped the South, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of the customs, a lot of the the food comes from the Gullah-Geechee Nation. All of it comes from us, and people don't realize that what they're doing.
The origin, right? The origin, and you know why? Because people end up just saying soul food,
right?
And so then soul food became like this big catch-all for all the Black ways of cooking food, but then not actually showing the distinct nature of it and its origin. So it's only now, because we have a lot of our own native Gullah-Geechee chefs, that they are now also culinary specialists who are sure to loudly speak on the fact of these food ways coming out of our traditions that people love from all over the world.
Yeah, there's like Chef Dennis, for example.
Yes, Chef Dennis, absolutely. We got Chef Farmer Matthew. They're all out there that are homeboys. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right. Yeah. So I want to get a little bit into our history, especially coming through slavery, and we obviously we know the language came out of slavery, and obviously that was another way to communicate with the slave owners, right? Because they had to pick up on the language also, but a lot of people don't know that the Gullah-Geechee were one of the first freedom fighters in this country.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
We were the first freedom fighters after the Union came down to South Kakalaki and said, hey, Lincoln said y'all free.
Right.
And then
let's go back before that. because the value of our language is the fact that actually the enslavers never understood it. And that's
Right.
why it's such a curiosity and it's still exotic, and why university people are still trying to get us to tell them our language, write a written version of it. It's an oral language.
Right.
We protect it because it protected us. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to go before we get to what we say when big shooting thing been to start, because
Mm-hmm.
actually in the War of 1812, we had a number of Gullah-Geechees fight in the
Right.
War of 1812 on the side of the British, because the British was fighting the so-called colonists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Right.
here they were still at war. It didn't just stop in 1776. They were still at war with each other. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
got in there and fought. So people don't realize there's a Gullah-Geechee diaspora within the African diaspora that even started through the freedom fighters. Because now
Right.
we would fight against the colonists. That meant we were fighting because we wanted to be free. We had
Right.
a real, one might say, beef. So it wasn't because, oh, we loved the British. It was because the British said, look, you fight this thing on our side, and we're gonna make sure you got freedom, and we're gonna make sure you got land. So
Right.
you have native Gullah-Geechees that ended up in Canada, you have them that ended up in Bermuda, you have them
Yep.
that ended up in Trinidad, and because
And
in all these
Barbados. Yep.
places, and yeah, we ended up with different names in these places. People don't realize that Gullah-Geechee until like some of us arrived there. And then we
Right.
start cracking our teeth like this shit. And we go, weird now. You sound like my grandma. Where you from?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's
Yep.
like Gullah-Geechee. Oh my gosh, you're the same people, right? From Carolinas, Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's
Mm-hmm.
American. Oh, you this is a different name every time. And Seminole is one of those names as well. So when we
Yes.
start moving forward in time to even getting to the point of the Civil War, we're talking about freedom fighters that had been already fighting for hundreds of years in what we
Right.
call Gullah Wars, starting
Right. The Gullah Wars. Yep.
Seminole Rebellion. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and so instead of it being called the Seminole Wars, if you really research it, like we first published that name, Gullah Wars, in my book, The Legacy of Evo Land and Gullah Roots of African American Culture, to dispel a myth. It wasn't Seminoles, because those native people weren't all called Seminoles. That was a label.
Right.
That's first.
Right.
And foremost. Second off, when you actually do the deep research, you find in the newspaper article, quote, there are more Negroes in this war than Indians, end quote. So that tells you that's our ancestors. That's
Right.
Africans. That's the Gullah-Geechees that was here that were the ones fighting for 40 years. And that Seminole term was, they said wild and exile, but it was because we were unconquerable. You see?
Right.
So when we talk about freedom fighters, we can't jump to the Civil War. We got to
Right.
take them back, because we've been fighting just about every step of the way, from the PD, from the time they brought folks in the 1500s in the PD River region.
Right. In the
They
PD,
got
yep.
my ancestors fighting, running off, joining with the indigenous people. They couldn't get them back.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, so this has been an ongoing thing. So we can't look at just enslavement,
Right.
say, oh, it's bondage. No, you got to look at the freedom fighters. Everybody didn't just accept chains.
Right.
They didn't just accept that. They didn't just accept chains on their hands, their legs, or their minds. So they fought against it. And we got to live to fight against it even now.
That's right. And we're still in that cultural battle now, ideological battle now, because because it's never really stopped.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's shifted from one issue to another, and they've broken up the issues, right? And that kind of brings me forward to the biggest thing for me is education. The biggest thing my grandmother always used to tell me was, make sure you read them books.
That's right.
She always told me, read those books, right? And I remember spending weekends on Skeeter Beach with them. And we would sit out there while they were out there fishing. I had my head in them books.
In the book.
You know, reading about all of our history and, you know, the issues that's happening. So the question is, the question I have with that is, we see our education system in decline, and the decline of Black history being taught in school year round and not relegated, not only being relegated to 1 month. Right. So how do we address that?
We address it the same way your grandmama did.
Mm-hmm.
because the first responsibility we have as parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and community members is to educate. Your
Mm-hmm.
first educator, your mama. You see what I'm saying? That's the person shaking you, talking to you, and reading to you. That
Right.
is your first educator. Look at what age you go to school. You're usually 5 years old. Now you might be 4 or 3 going to preschool and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, a lot of people are 5 years old when they get into kindergarten. You can't just start reading then. Your child should
Right.
have already been familiar with books, and books in particular that reflect themselves. Okay,
Right.
because that is going to be critical. That is going to make an indelible mark on their minds. They should have books in the house, at
Mm-hmm.
home, and you should take them to the library as soon as you can and get a library card so that they
Right.
also learn there are these institutions that are repositories of the books. So if you can't afford to buy them, you go there and get them for free and then read it and bring it back. So it's our responsibility to do that and then have discussions like we have in the night. What's wrong
Right.
with getting underneath the oak tree? What wrong with if them churn over there got the fish and thing like that? What wrong with you sit right there with the churn and read and talk about what the churn read?
Mm-hmm.
You see what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? You can stay on your phone. You can stay in a book. You see?
That's right.
And so it is very important. Now, I've been reading since I was 3. We ain't gonna talk about how old I am now, but you can imagine how much I have read since I have been reading since 3 years old. And what is a blessing to me tonight is to hear you tell a story about Mosquito Beach that I fought for so long, for years now, so we can restore it to its
Mm-hmm.
greatness and to that family atmosphere that you're talking about, and it be a place of education, working with the folks there on Mosquito Beach, the families there to do that. But today, I spent in the only archive we have in the world dedicated to Gullah-Geechee history, heritage, and culture, the Alke Bulan Archive. And I
Uh-huh.
put away 8 to 12 huge containers that are now, hurricane type containers in case,
Right.
something to happen in that archive today. And I stood over the boxes. I even have the pictures I'm gonna post later. Stood over looking in there at all the Black history titles, back to back to back. Then the box
Mm-hmm.
full of Gullah-Geechee history titles, back to back to back. And I was like, man. And this all started because of my love of reading. And I said,
Right.
who else has a library like this that they can walk into and archive,
Right.
walk into it and touch our story everywhere? Every Black person should have a library at home. They should, with Black.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
My family did. I mean, we had World Book Encyclopedia. Yeah, I'm showing my
Yes.
age too, right? We had like 12 years of editions of World Book.
Yeah.
We had all sorts of books about, about us,
Yeah.
American history, whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
And what bothers me, when it comes to enrichment of history, and I know this is a touchy topic for a lot of people, but when people talking about tearing down the Confederate statues and
Yeah.
things like that, and my position has always been is like, my parents taught me about those men because of those statues. They had the oral history, right? From that. And when you remove those statues, you remove that oral history, right? Because, what's that saying? Out of sight, out of mind?
Out of sight, out of mind. That's right.
Right? And I know the information of the statues, whatever, but it's like for folks like me that grew up and we were taught history orally, that's a fixation because we know what's written on the internet and in these different books. They try to twist it a little bit. And they've done the same thing to us. They've twisted our history to fit into a certain peg. And it's like, no, it's not that black and white. There's a great area you missing through all of this.
It's nuanced. It's nuanced. Right.
Very nuanced. And the other thing I wanted to bring up also, I know we're running up on time here. The other thing I want to bring up is,
you know how it is though when good people get together, the time fly by real fast.
Yeah, it do. Yes, it does. Yes, ma'am. Yes, queen.
Reunion, so you know how that go. So go ahead. We good. Go ahead.
So yeah, the other thing I want to bring up is Black American culture in general, right? And I know I've seen you speak on it many times, in certain regards. Here in 2021, where do you see the shift in our culture going? Looking from the outside in.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting because if you had asked me this, let's say approximately 6 months ago, I would have said it is going in the direction of the opportunity that so many people got martyred for. And I would have said that because we had that blip, right? 6 to 9 months ago, especially around Juneteenth, we had that blip when our brothers were being murdered. Ahmaud Arbery, God bless the dead. Brother Floyd, God bless the dead. Sister Breonna Taylor, God bless the dead. When they were all killed, it like snapped people because they were sitting at home and they had to sit still and they weren't running all around, that they paid attention to that. But those things weren't new. But my thing was, okay, now is our time. That every generation we have worked, we fought, people were martyred to bring us together, united, to recognize that it doesn't matter if you or I are here or we're in Brazil, we're Black. It doesn't matter if we're here or we go to Germany, we're Black. And that's what people are going to see. They're not going to hear you first. They're going to see you first. So that means that if I see you, I should see me. When you see me, you should see you. So that means around the world, we were united and we had that blip. We had that opportunity. And I was like, okay, let me see what we're going to do with it. And the Spirit said to me, they're going to fall back asleep. They like to use woke as a hashtag, but they going to fall right back to sleep. And it was not a complete 2 months. I said, do these people realize that the civil rights movement took 15 years? And I said to somebody, let me see if this going to last 15 weeks. And it was like eking and it was draining down. And here we go. What was on TV again? Reality shows. Why? If we're talking about our lives matter, and this is our moment to unite with one another. This is our moment to finally tell our story, not have it filtered through the lens, not have it, like you said, twisted and shaped to fit into a box that somebody else created so they can lid the box when they're ready, rip the box apart when they're ready. But no, tell it in its totality, but let us tell it. Why then didn't we say, well, we don't want any more negativity on the radio. We don't want any more negativity on television. We're not buy that stuff anymore because that's what's seeding the mind. Like you said about those statues, it's there, you see it, so it's in mind. If reality shows is all you take in, it's there, you see it, it's in mind. So if it was out of sight, it would be out of mind and we wouldn't be out of our minds. Back at the point where I'm seeing folks on social media arguing and trying to tear down the Black folks who are still doing stuff to uplift our communities. And so that's the thing. I say, if you had asked me that then, that's what I would say. Well, we got an opportunity to keep moving forward. But now what I've seen is a regression. I've seen a regression and people losing sight of the prize. The song said, keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. That came from our Gullah-Geechee spiritual. Keep on a hand on the plow. Hold on. We ain't finished plowing the soil to plant the seeds for us to be united globally. And folks already putting weeds in. They planting the weeds. They ain't even letting the weeds come in from outside. We got our own folk look like me and you planting weeds. That don't make no sense. And I ain't said weeds, y'all. I said weeds. Okay. Planting that. And then here it is that's what chokes out the fruit we need to grow.
That's right. Because because there's a lot of folks, that understand the plight, but again, those people that are planting the weeds, people turn away from that because people tend to weaponize the people that plant those weeds. Their plan is to weaponize it. And now, not only do we have a cultural division in our country, we also have they're creating a racial division in our country for no reason.
Or maintaining one. Because if it was there, they're maintaining it and don't even realize they're being used as tools to maintain the status quo.
Right.
Instead of actually dismantling racism.
Right. Right, and that's the thing. I preach that all the time, you know, and I tell fellow black folk, and I'm like, we can't sit here and allow these people to infiltrate whatever you're doing
Right.
to sow division even more. Because
That,
I had an interesting conversation with an individual yesterday, one of my good friends, and he was like, this whole woke thing, this whole anti-racist movement turns me off because every time I try to empathize with black folks and understand what they're saying, certain ones will tear me down because I'm empathizing. And I'm like,
wow.
that's the incorrect way to do
That's
things.
right. That's right.
You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? People recognize, you know, hey, okay, you have a grievance. Okay, I understand. Where is it coming from? Okay, I get you. Right. But then it's like, well, no, but you're still racist because of the color of your skin. And I'm just like,
It's more. That's not what racism is predicated upon. So
I know. So it's
that's a very minimal part of the whole structure. We're talking about a systemic structure of oppression.
right.
So it's a little deeper. It's more than skin deep. Okay, it's more than skin deep. And so, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I have heard this conversation on several television shows now, because I'm not big on watching the news constantly. I'm not that person.
Right.
So my thing is, when I do watch some of it that I choose to watch, I'm hearing this. There people like, I'm an ally. I'm trying to work with folks. I'm not joining in no new movement. I've always respected black people as my colleagues and whatever. And I'm doing this, and now I'm getting cussed out, by people that I don't know, and they're calling me. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So the whole movement is devolving because the dialogues are not really happening. But I think part of that is people are exhausted. Like, people are talking about exhaustion. I don't know about you, but I know I had to tell people point blank, do not contact me to sit in another Zoom meeting about equity, diversity, and inclusion, to just have a conversation. Now, if you are telling me, you asked me here to strategize, to actually work together to dismantle racism altogether, I'm with you. But if you just want me in the room as a perfunctory exercise to check off that your group, your organization want to check a box and say you're not racist because you talked to one black somebody, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. So I get the frustration on our side of the argument that a lot of us just tired of the subject because nothing's getting done. It's just a bunch of arguing. It's just a bunch of having meetings to meet, as I call them, and calling them equity, diversity, and inclusion. But none of those words mean equality.
Right.
And I believe that our mission and those freedom fighters' mission was always about equality and respect. Now, if we can get to that, we can get over anything else.
Right.
But if we just screaming, hollering, tweeting, cussing folks out while you hide behind some other name and other photograph on social media, we're not going to get where we need to go.
Right. That's right. I mean, it's a tiresome, and for me, it's more tiresome to tell fellow black folks that you need to stop calling every white person you come across a racist than it is to deal with, if there is racism or prejudice coming my way from white folks, right? It's more exhausting to be like, y'all gotta stop. Like, this is not it. You're destroying everything our folks built to get here. It's like you're literally destroying civil rights by doing this, because you're creating an oppressor and an oppressee complex, and you're trying to be the oppressor.
And that's not the mechanism by which any of our ancestors. That's not the tools that were on the table, right? You're not trying to switch, right? Like you said, and then you become the oppressor. That's not the plan,
right?
No, equality is different than that. That's not what that is. It don't look nothing like each other. So I hear you, and I'm hearing it from a lot of brothers and sisters. I think a lot of us, especially with us engaged in media, you get exhausted. Like you said, it's exhausting. You're like, can we do something else? Let's just
Right.
talk about something else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say to brothers and sisters is this: don't ever give up the fight for your respect. Now, don't ever give up the fight to have yourself recognized in our culture and our contributions to the world be recognized. Don't do that. So don't get it twisted what we're saying. But what we're saying is not what you do, is how you do it.
That's right.
And our thing is, as Black gold rich people, then we add richness and shine anywhere we are.
That's
so you
right.
don't argue with nobody. All you got to do is show up, shining, positive, blessed, enlightened, and you ain't got to ask for nobody else's agreement for who you are. You stand
right.
proud in who you are and stand together. The more we stand united together, there's no denying us. But if we don't fight internally, then gonna go out here arguing, where's your energy? When you are clear, you need your energy for the real fight. You don't need it dissipated. Like you said, this is division being caused, and you're then being used because they know if you dissipate your energy on these arguments, when they come in for the real hit, you ain't woke.
That's right. No, no, not. It is not even close. What it is, it's the fringes, right? It's the fringes of our society that create this division. Because I personally think, and I've traveled the country a whole lot, and I've lived in a whole lot of places in the world and in the United States, and in America, where we've been and where we've came, the core of America is united on a lot of these issues, but you have the fringes that have the loudest voices, and it's drowning everybody else out, and it leaves folks, regular, normal American folks looking at like this what? Is not what we're about, right? Yeah, this is not what we're about. It's like I don't see the color of your skin. I don't, you know what I mean? You're not saying color blindness, but it's like
I was gonna say, because I can't stand that though. Don't
say
because then you now I don't trust nothing you say out your mouth. If you tell me I don't see color, I figure you're fire. So I just don't want to deal with you.
Exactly. That's why I've always preached against color blindness. I teach color acceptance.
Right. Exactly.
Because I see you, right? And the folks are like, dude, like, I don't care if you're brown or green. Like, let's do this, right?
Yeah, what people together. Yeah, what can we do to uplift each other and make it a better place? That's the thing. And one of the things that you pointed out, I think maybe we need to say for your audience, one of the reasons that the others get to drown out the voices of everybody else who may really sincerely want to work together and are working together and things like that is because they don't own the media, the larger mainstream media. People don't recognize there's only 5 real channels. Like all these other ones are just offshoots from the same companies. The same 5 companies own all this stuff, so they package stuff and then they send it out all over the place. So they use it to be what you call human interest stories, where you could actually get in a community and you could see the community members working together. Somebody won an award or something like that. They showed that. You don't see that now. You hear pundit this, pundit that, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, it gets to be too much. It becomes deafening. And as a computer scientist, it becomes programming. So it's not just TV programming, it's programming.
Yes.
So that this way, your mind believes that everybody's on the fringes. When that's the minority, that's not the majority. So I hear what you're saying, and I just think that it's unfortunate that so many people aren't really aware of media and social media and how the content is created to be bullhorns for certain things at certain times. So we have to use platforms like what you're doing to still be the voice, to still holler, even if it's in the wilderness. Somebody gonna hear you, and hopefully save each other and heal this world. While climate change is a major thing going on, we over here doing foolishness. We need to definitely focus and reconnect with one another for sure.
Yes, we do for sure. Well, Queen, I appreciate you this evening on this blessed Sunday. Can you let the listeners and viewers know how to find us on the Gullah-Geechee Nation?
For sure. So definitely please follow the Gullah-Geechee Nation.com, and Gullah is Gullah. Geechee is Geechee if it a we. Ain't a no I ain't Geechee if it a we. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Nation, Nation.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Gullah-Geechee. You can also find the Gullah-Geechee Nation's Facebook fan page. And so definitely we appreciate you. If you follow the blog with Gullah-Geechee Nation, you'll know of events we're having when Rona done gone about the business and things like that. You'll know about events. You'll know about different things. We done talked about food tonight. We probably done made people hungry. Y'all get going.
I know that's right.
Our restaurants and various things, but definitely always about what we're doing together to uplift one another and to maintain our unity in the Gullah-Geechee Nation. As you see in our flag right here by me, that is a tree with human bodies inextricably tied together. Those are our ancestors we talked about at the beginning of the show. That is their human bodies. That is a family tree and the tree of life, and it is rooted in this soil where our souls were planted when that drum just beat out from Mother Africa. So definitely it is wonderful to know I got a homeboy there putting the air and thing like that. Got this your broadcast, the Black Patriots Media Group. Is so glad that Hunter decide for Hammy Punya and thing like that. Because anytime somebody said to me they're gonna celebrate us and who we are, I'm there. All right. So definitely.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate you, brother. Three, like I said, it is a treat to be here with you. And I truly wish you a lot of blessings with the broadcast. And just because the other people stop celebrating in February, me and you going to stay like this here.
That's right. We celebrate year round. Year round.
All time. Yes, for sure.
All right. Appreciate you, Queen. Blessings to you. And we'll have to do this again another time.
Truly, truly, I appreciate it. And hopefully the next time we can be under the oak tree together, man. For sure.
All right. And for sure. Take care now.